Hello everyone, Logan from Curated Avalon, and today I will be further discussing the Moleskine paper quality issue and whether or not we can tell from the exterior packaging before we buy the notebook whether we're getting a good quality paper or a bad quality paper, and why do we even care? So in my last video, I had quite a few comments, people just, why do I even care anymore to figure out whether or not I'm getting a good or bad quality paper from Moleskine, just stop buying Moleskine and get something else. I have tried. I've tried to quit Moleskine and I just haven't been able to yet. And the more I think about it, I mean, I could buy a Moleskine notebook and each and every time I know the paper is going to be pretty much the same and it is a good quality. Why wouldn't I just buy one of those? Why wouldn't I just get a notebook with Tomaway River paper in it? Why wouldn't I just? And I'm sitting here going, either I am just stupid or a hopeless romantic or just too hard-headed and stupid and stubborn. And yeah, we'll just go back to the first. Refer back to the first. Just stupid works. However, Moleskine notebooks just work for me. I don't know if it was because it was the first thing that I tried and it just stuck with me or what, but I have tried so many different brands, so many different notebooks, and I would love to try more. I haven't found anything that replaces a Moleskine for me. And it's just kind of a weird thing. I can't really explain it. I prefer hardcover notebooks. This is a hardcover, but my most used Moleskine is a softcover. And I used to prefer lined pages. My most used is plain paper, and I prefer the smaller sizes, and yet I have the extra large. My most used Moleskine is the extra large plain softcover. I don't understand it. It just works for me. Now, this is specifically the information that I use these notebooks for is for character and world building. So like they have a very specific use. And I use them pretty much just for that, come to think of it. I don't really buy them for anything else. I did use a soft cover with the squared paper for my quilt designs for years until the paper just got too poor and I just couldn't use it any longer. It was just too much bleed through, even with a regular pen and pencil and everything. Like, it just wasn't working for me anymore. So I'm trying to find something else to use there. But yes, as far as just my notes for character, world building, the things that I use to work with authors, when I'm using paper instead of my free write, this is what I use: an extra large softcover Moleskine, and I beat it up. I used to be so careful with my notebooks, but these I don't give any thought to whatsoever. They just get kind of torn to shreds. But that's their use, that's their purpose. I really love the hardcovers. I think I've stopped buying so many of the notebooks. I used to buy, oh my goodness, so many Moleskine notebooks a year for all of my different journaling needs, for business, everything. And I've backed off of it so much in trying other brands. This was one of my last purchases. This was when I decided to buy directly from Moleskine Company again to see what the experience would be like, to see if I actually got what I ordered, because I'd had issues with that in the past. And so this was one. And because I opened it in a video, I could see the packaging on the back. And this one said, so it would have been this, the paper from Responsible Sources, which is supposed to be the bad paper, versus paper supporting responsible forestry, which is supposed to be the good paper. And this is all according to Seaweed Kisses. She has been doing so much work in trying to figure out a way for us to be able to tell before we buy a Moleskine notebook if it's good or bad paper. So please check out her channel, Seaweed Kisses. She has been putting in so much legwork for this. She's fantastic. I bought this notebook. I had it personalized because I wanted to see if their personalization quality had improved. It really hadn't, but I haven't used this notebook because the paper is so bad in it. I can't use it. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and use a ballpoint with it or something, because my fountain pens, if I have like a really fine fountain pen, I think I can get away with it, but it's not working with my regular writers, which are all medium nibs. When I bought this and opened it, I mean, the paper immediately just looked wrong to me. You can see it's got this kind of like wave into it. It's more like a sketch paper, and it is insanely toothy. It doesn't feel good at all. It feels like a cheap, I'm not gonna lie, Dollar Tree store sketchbook paper. And versus this, which is just this lovely, lovely soft, I don't even know if I can get these side by side so that you could tell a difference, but this just has this like lovely, silky smooth feel to it. Gorgeous texture. The light hits it differently. It almost glistens. And anyway, this is one of the best papers I've ever had in a Moleskine notebook, maybe the best, versus definitely one of the worst. And I'm going to do a writing sample so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I've got my Leonardo. This is going to have a fine nib, and I have writer's blood in it right now. I also have the writer's blood with me. And I had several commenters going, you know, Moleskine has never advertised this as fountain pen friendly. I don't know why you're complaining. And the true complaint here is not that we're trying to get a fountain pen friendly product out of one that isn't said to be so. We just want the quality to be consistent. Like, we love this soft, gorgeous, definitely fountain pen friendly paper. Absolutely love it. That's the experience that we're looking for. They had the ability, or have the ability one way or the other, to produce this. This is what we want, and this is what we're willing to pay money for. When we rake out, you know, $30-$40 for a notebook, and this is what we get, that's just not, it's not what we want. And I think if you're going to, you know, if you've got this gorgeous product and you're marketing to a higher level with it, you know, I think you should consider who might be using that product. Probably not just your ballpoint pen users are going to go after these notebooks exclusively. I mean, I'm not really sure how to put this, but, you know, probably your people who have fancier pens, that like gel pens that, you know, are more specific with their pens, are going to be coming after a more specific product. And you know, if you're charging for that, definitely try to put out a product that is at least consistent. I mean, if the paper was consistently like this, you know, obviously you'd be like, oh, well, we simply can't use that. But, oh, there's that fountain pen. Did I mention this is my most beaten up fountain pen because I just am so mean to it? Apparently it was in the back of the book. I'm so sorry, fountain pen. If the paper quality consistency is going to be more along the lines of this, I mean, it's beautiful. It writes gorgeous. The ink shows up very well for what the paper is. And I mean, that's the bleed through. Like, that was a pretty intense ink sample, and that's what we got out of it. But you can barely see that shadowing, and there's no bleed through. That's what we want. If we can get that, oh my goodness, we'd be very happy with that. Go ahead with Noodler's ink. This is dark matter and a fine nib. So yes, the argument is not really that the fountain pen users are unhappy that the Moleskine notebooks aren't fountain pen friendly. We just would really love to see the consistency, and we'd love to see that high quality paper return to a high quality item with consistency. And I think that's fair enough. I think that's fair enough to sit there and say, we really love what you did here. Please keep doing that. And this is a medium nib, my Pilot Vanishing Point, but it really does write more like a broad. Leans towards that. All right, so we can see immediately the ink sample basically split. I wouldn't say that it's too terrible to write on. It doesn't feel good. It's not a good feel good experience. It feels like I'm writing on sketch paper. And I mean, that's the bleed through even on the fine nibs. That's what we're dealing with versus this. I mean, that's fabulous. That's not. So, with that said, this notebook, like I said, had the labeling of paper from responsible sources and is just terrible. Unfortunately, I don't know what this was labeled at, and I am so sorry. I wish I had filmed opening this. I just don't usually film opening every notebook, but from now on, I will, just for posterity. Maybe we'll figure something out that's concrete. That would be fantastic. But just know that there is nice, super nice Moleskine paper out there, and we would love to see it return to the notebooks consistently. We'd really enjoy it. So Moleskine, if you're listening, we'd really appreciate it. This is just a standard ballpoint. So, I mean, you can use it with a ballpoint. I mean, it's going to be written on the next page, but you certainly can. And this had occurred to me, and I did have a commenter, one of my followers, comment on the last video saying, well, you could be getting just older versus newer stock. This could be the newer stock, this could be the older stock, and this is why that paper is better than this paper. I would agree, and I think that's a fair theory. But I've been using Moleskine notebooks for years, and this has always been a problem. It was less of a problem at one time, but occasionally I would just get a notebook that was just so bad, and I really couldn't use it for what I had previously been able to use my notebooks for. When I started buying Moleskine notebooks, I didn't even use fountain pens. I had ballpoint pens, I had felt tip liner pens. It was a while before I used fountain pens with them, and I was able to use like Stapler, like fine tip, coloring pens, the ones everyone was using for the coloring books. I used those for journaling for a long time, and the paper did very well with that until it didn't. So this has been an issue for years, and it's got to the point where the paper is so poor that we can't even use like the gel pens and stuff with it. And I mean, golly, we should at least be able to use the gel pens and the felt tip liner pens to some extent with the notebook paper. My goodness. So yeah, that's the only thing there. So yes, this could be older stock, and yes, this could be newer stock. However, the consistency thing has always been an issue. And let me see, this one, this is a newer one. This came directly from the company, and it does have the newer printing of the manifesto and everything. So that's also a fairly good point. Well, you know, they're rebranding. Maybe they're dumping old stock, and so people are getting some of the old and some of the new. However, this one also has the manifesto printed in the front. It is also a newer notebook, but with some of the most fabulous paper I've ever used in a Moleskine. So go figure. As far as I can tell in this moment, it's still kind of a lottery deal. You're going to get lucky or you're not. I have ordered a couple of new, the extra large soft cover because I'm almost done with this one and I need the next one. I'm really hoping the paper is going to be good because I'm going to be so sad when I'm done with this one. The paper was just so lovely. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your now current thoughts on the quality of the paper and just, is there a way to actually tell, or is this still just a big gamble? And why do we care? Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment in the section below.